if you're looking for the future of North Carolina football, I think this year is going to say a lot about where Mac Brown is taking this program. Now, it's going to be tough when you lose Sam Howell at quarterback, but I think that you're looking at a team that can be a better team in 2022, even with that new quarterback coming in. It's also going to tell you that the talent that they're bringing in, does that mean they're headed in the right direction? That's a big question. And the 10 guys that we talk about today play a big role in determining that direction. Even if they leave this year, which most of them will, they're going to show that North Carolina is hopefully in good hands. And I think that you're going to be excited if you're a Tar Heels fan for the near future. Everybody knows Josh Downs. Honestly, we probably don't even have to talk about him that much. Josh Downs is a phenomenal talent. He's a guy who is a big-time playmaker, not the biggest wide receiver, but knows how to get the job done. He had 101 catches last year, which speaks to maybe the lack of depth at pass catching positions. But this is a guy who the new quarterback can look to. He's proven that he's a reliable pass catcher, someone that can get the job done on a consistent basis, and someone you're going to look forward to at the next level as well. Teams are already really scouting him hard, see what he can do for them in the NFL, and I think that teams are going to focus on him at the college level. So that means other guys have to step up, but that's the kind of respect you deserve when you put up the numbers that he did. Now, when the name Myles Murphy gets thrown around, most people just automatically assume we're talking about Clemson's defensive end. However, North Carolina's Myles Murphy, not just as good as Clemson's, but he's really, really good. He is a natural playmaker with great quickness at the snap, someone that's going to be disruptive if you're an opposing offense, and someone that teams definitely have circled. So if your name is Myles Murphy and you play defensive line in college football, teams know who you are. And North Carolina is very lucky to have a talented defensive line. We're going to talk about a few other guys here, and when you see what they have returning, the defense is going to carry them while the offense figures things out. So even if the quarterback position takes a little bit of time to play out, same with the running back position, this is a defense that can really help them out and get them the ball back a little bit more and keep teams off the scoreboard at times. That's going to be huge for a team that is looking to retool their offense. Defending the pass is going to be a strength for this Tar Heels defense. Tony Grimes is one of the more underrated players at cornerback, and I think that if he can get back to what he looked like in his freshman campaign, then this is going to be a defense that could be lights out when it comes to defending the pass. He at times was beaten last year, and it looks like he took a step back. But I'm still a big fan of Tony Grimes. I still think that he is one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football. It just comes down to consistency. And this defense has a ton of experience, so I think that you're not going to have too many things that trip them up. They've seen a lot of looks. They know how to defend that. They know how to get in good positions. And it just comes down to defending some of the best receivers in the country. There's some good offenses in the ACC, and Tony Grimes is going to face plenty of competition, plenty of good wide receivers that are going to be able to test him, and they're going to push him to his limit. And I think you're going to find a guy who's resilient enough to step up to that challenge and pass that test. Opposite of him is one of the best names in all of college football, and that's Storm Duck, the veteran. Again, another guy with a ton of experience, plays opposite of Tony Grimes at corner, another guy that can be a shutdown guy. And if you're talking about two guys that can shut down wide receivers, that means number one and number two options aren't available, then North Carolina is going to be in business. And we're not done talking about the secondary either. We're not done talking about the defense. And that's something that if you're a Tar Heels fan, is really exciting heading into 2022. A guy set to have a breakout season is Kamon Rucker. The defensive end is really explosive around the edge. I think he has great get off at the snap. I think he's got good bend around the edge and someone that could rise up draft boards when it's all said and done. You look at what he did last year, there were times where he flashed great potential, and I think that he gets a chance to do that again and show that he can be a consistent playmaker. He can show that he's going to be a threat around the edge because teams know Myles Murphy is coming up the middle, so they're probably going to send less help his way, meaning that he has a one-on-one matchup with a tackle, and if he's on, he's going to have a field day, and his stats are going to be even better than they were in 2021. A big addition in the transfer portal was Noah Taylor from Virginia. He had 69 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks in 2021. And I think that if he plays that edge rusher position opposite of K'Mon Rucker, that is two players that give Myles Murphy a little bit of relief. Because if teams, like I said, if they're focusing on Myles Murphy, then you have to worry about one-on-one matchups with both Rucker and Taylor. And Taylor's proven that he can be an absolute menace. Rucker is going to do the same. So that's huge for a front seven that needs to find new linebackers. But when you look at the edge of the defensive line, they are all set, and they're going to give opposing offensive coordinators a lot to think about before they face them. And like I said, we're not done talking about the secondary either. Cameron Kelly is returning after a big year in terms of defending the pass. And with teams focusing on Tony Grimes and Storm Duck, it's not that they forget about the safeties, but you almost don't remember that they're there because you're so worried about throwing against Tony Grimes and Storm Duck that Cameron Kelly just swoops in and makes you think twice when you're throwing anywhere. This is a secondary that has, like I said, a ton of talent, a ton of ability to impact the game, to get the ball back to their offense. And with an offense that, like I said, is going to need some time to get things figured out, that's huge. That's a secondary that can make an impact and could be a unit that is not an X factor, but one that's a driving force for this team. I mentioned before that someone besides Josh Downs has to step up, and I think Antoine Green can be that guy. Look at his production last year. He only had 31 catches, but he turned those catches into 19.7 yards per catch. That's the definition of an explosive playmaker. Everybody's going to focus on Josh Downs. They're going to try to figure out how to take him away, and Antoine Green could be that guy. He's proven that he can be a big-time playmaker, and now he gets a chance to do it again. Maybe freshman Andre Green Jr. is going to do that, but I think Antoine Green is the guy that maybe people are just really excited about the new talent, but I think everybody's forgetting that Antoine Green nearly averaged 20 yards per catch. And when you look at some of the playmakers like Dontavian Wicks from Virginia or Donovan Green from Wake Forest, A.T. Perry from Wake Forest, those are guys that averaged near or above 20 yards per catch. Antoine Green nearly did the same thing. Now with 31 catches, you'd like to see a little bit more of a consistent or less of a gap in terms of not having 70 less catches than the top guy, but that's something that could be exciting when you're looking at this offense. I think Drake Maye is going to be the starting quarterback for North Carolina this year. However, Jacoby Criswell could very well be part of that. If it's a rotation, we're still going to see both of them, I think. But I really like what Drake Maye has in terms of the future of this program. I think that Mack Brown went out and got him for a reason and worked really hard to get him to come to campus. And now that Sam Howell is gone, they're going to need a big-time playmaker to step up. And Drake Maye has plenty of options to utilize. And like I said, quarterback is going to be the X factor of this team, going to determine a lot about if they're going to be successful and if a winning season is possible once again to get this program headed back in the right direction. Finally, Raymond VOHASEK is an absolute monster up the middle. Not going to have the production that a Myles Murphy is going to have, but he's more of that plug up the middle, open things up for the linebackers to make plays. And honestly, teams can't really afford to send help to anybody at this point when you look at what they have, because the potential lineup of having Noah Taylor and K'Mon Rucker on the edge and Myles Murphy and VOHASEK up the middle, you can't really afford to send any help to anybody. If you do, you're leaving one-on matchups with guys that are going to be a problem. And that's something that North Carolina really should bank on and really utilize a defense that, like I said, is going to be good. I think they're going to be a huge asset for this team. And when you're looking at quarterback being a question mark for now, you're going to need someone to step up, at least in the beginning of the season. It's going to be rocky at the beginning of the season for everybody, but with a team looking to find some chemistry on offense, the defense is going to take a huge step forward and step up for Mack Brown and step over this program in 2022.